What's up, everybody? It's your boy Bill Forster. Happy Monday to you all. Listen, this is the segment of Real Talk Chronicles, and I'm here with you. Allison will be coming along very shortly. And what's going on with you all? I hope you all have had a beautiful weekend, a wonderful day. I personally have been very, very busy. With that being with that being said, I I'm okay with being busy. Busy is good. Let me just run down the schedule for Real Talk Chronicles. The first Monday of the month, we have Assemblyman Al Taylor. He's been very busy on the campaign, helping Eric Adams and doing his own thing. So when we speak to him, we have a lot to talk about. With that being said, the second Monday of the month is Dr. Marilyn Corder. She is supposed to be here tonight with us, but she was pulled away due to some professional situations, and we can understand that. She's a doctor and she has to do doctor stuff, and we understand that very well. So maybe she might chime in a little later if she gets away. She's able to get away free. Roscoe, what's up, my man? Kenny, what's going on? Mike Jones, what's up, baby? You're gonna chop it up though. I got my dudes in the building, so we will be conversing about a lot of stuff that's popping off right now. But let me finish with the rundown as I log into all the blogs and everything. Excuse me, fellas and ladies. The second Monday of the month, like I said, is Dr. Marilyn Corder. She's supposed to be here tonight. She was pulled away for a conference call, of course, on health. And if she gets a chance to come in, she'll tell us about that. The third Monday of the month is Alyson Williams, the First Lady of Def Jam. Talented as she is, she's tardy as she is. The fourth Monday of the month is Pastor Kevin Graves. So it's good to have a spiritual conversation with him. It's a beautiful thing. And every Wednesday, we have Chuck and Kevin in the building, and we conversed about a lot of law enforcement stuff. But there's so much going on tonight in the world today. Crime is still crazy in New York City. Excuse me. COVID is still an issue. We also have the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse and Ahmaud Arbery. I really want to know your take on those situations. Closing arguments were today in the trial. So what's your take on that? Do you think the judge, for those who are watching, do you think the judge is kind of swaying with the defense? You know what I'm saying? Looking a little funny. Do you think he's going to get off? I think he's going to get off. As African Americans, do you really care? I mean, because the bottom line is, this is kind of white on white crime, but the bottom line is it does affect us because they were out there protesting for people of color. So let's not forget that. But this was a situation that we needed to. My man Anthony Bolden in the building. Anthony, we're going to have to get you in here one day. Norm, what's up, my brother Norm? I'm going to have to get you in here too one day with us. Norm and I was talking yesterday. We got some good stuff coming up. Excuse me, I got on the official. Colin, what's good? What's good, Colin? I got on the official sweats. Listen, I was out there in the building. Sammy, my condolences on the passing of your daughter. Respect, my fellow narco ranger. Condolences. Yes, sir. What's up, Norm? I'm with you, baby. Be fly, baby. Cats don't know. I got the name in college. Norm was there when I got it. So you got Kyle Rittenhouse, whatever his name is, his situation. Yo, Academy Award. Give it to him. That shit was crazy. Did you see that? Yo, he hit one little tear. Today, during the closing arguments, he was yarning. He couldn't keep himself awake. We could talk about Biden. People ain't feeling him. Where's Kamala? We haven't seen her since she got sworn in, right? That's crazy. A lot of people talking about her. Here's my co-host in the building. There she is, the first lady of Def Jam, the jazz aficionado, Alyson Williams, baby. Everybody.
Hey, honey.
What's up, sis? How you doing?
Peace. I'm good, sweetie. I'm sorry I'm about 9-10 minutes late, but I was
Listen.
trying to find my headphones so I could be heard.
No, listen. The fact that you're fashionably late, but you're late and you're here and you look great. How you doing? What's going on?
I don't know really where to begin, but I'm blessed and highly favored. Glad to be here. Glad to join you. I know I wasn't with you last month because I had a project that I was working on. We're still working on the project, and because it deals with the corporate side of the world, we're kind of in a little bit of a limbo because of all of the how can I say, products and produce and things that are stuck out in the middle of the water. In order for me to do this thing that I'm doing, there are certain pieces of equipment that need to be in place, and those pieces of equipment cannot be offloaded because
Right.
they're stuck on the ships in the middle of the ocean because
No, exactly.
they can't
What do you
come to
think about that?
port.
That's
They
crazy,
can't
right? That's
offload it.
crazy.
There's no drivers. There's no trucks. There's no whatever. And it's got industry trying to grind to a halt. It's making gas prices go up. It's making prices of our retail. It's just crazy. So I'm in a little bit of a limbo, but I'm glad, because it's giving me a little more time to focus on some other great things that are happening for me on the educational front. I've been approached about having a scholarship developed in my name for an organization out of Atlanta, and I'm really excited about that because I know that right now I am in the, how can you put it? I'm in that place in my life where I should be starting to lay down legacy and putting myself in a place where I am able to give back and create 2,000 more me's some kind of way. You know
What's
what I'm
so
saying?
funny? We're gonna talk about it later when Stefania comes on, and it's so funny. Shout out to Steve Meekins, Collins in the building, Kenny. I see everybody. Shout out to everybody that's chiming in tonight. We're gonna have a good conversation. Stefania asked me. It was so funny. She asked me a question today. She says, "Bill, have you heard of Phyllis Hyman?" So I was like, "Of course, have I heard of
Are
Phyllis
you
Hyman?"
high?
And I said, "It's so funny that you asked me about Phyllis Hyman on the night that Alyson comes on." I said, "Because do you know Alyson was dubbed the second heir to Phyllis Hyman, kind of per se? You know what I'm saying? So when she comes on, we want you to talk about your relationship with Phyllis
Okay.
and how you feel about her, because the bottom line is the beautiful thing about you, as well versed as you are in so many different things. Music is a lot of things that you can discuss. You look very slim today. Are you losing weight? What are you doing right
I
now?
am losing weight by the day. I looked at the scale yesterday and was like, "Oh, okay, girl." I was somewhere where I didn't think I was. I wasn't mad at where I thought I was, but when I looked, I was a little bit glad, a little happier. Black is always slimming, but your girl is kind of, showing a little décolletage.
Listen, you got that long throat going on right now. You know
Listen,
what I'm
I'm trying
saying?
to keep my turkey. I'm trying to keep my turkey gullet at bay. I don't know want nobody to make a mistake and take a shot at me because it's
No, we ain't
holiday
gonna let that
season.
happen.
And I'll go, oh, there go blonde turkey. Let's get a click bang. Bird shot, buckshot. Because my,
So
because I don't
So
want
the
all
beautiful
that.
thing is you're doing something that's better, that's great for you, and that's a beautiful thing. Shout out to Vera. I see you in the building. Everybody, let me just let you know this is Real Talk Chronicles. This is Real Talk with Alyson Williams, the First Lady of Def Jam, jazz aficionado. Whatever you want to talk about tonight, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna kick it because there's so much going on. Dr. Marilyn Corder might be joining us tonight. I'm not can't promise that. She got pulled away due to a conference, and of course it had to do with health. We don't know if it was COVID related or anything that has to do. She's the chief of a hospital, so we don't know what she wanted to discuss with us tonight. We're gonna keep that a secret, but she might pop in later. If not, she'll be back, and then we can all get together. Also, too, remember this is November. This is like, wow, Thanksgiving is what, 2 weeks?
Around the corner.
Yo, is that crazy, Allie?
No, it's not crazy. It's real.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then right after that, Christmas is gonna be jumping on our heads, and then into the new year and keeping it moving. Can you? That's what is amazing to me. That we're dwindling down to 2022,
Yeah.
and it's with it's like a double-edged sword and a double-sided coin in terms of what I feel and how I'm feeling about it. I'm very thankful for this Thanksgiving season because I'm thankful every day for the fact that we continue to be able to be alive and flourish and be there as a rock and as a support to those who may not be able to uh, be steady and be stable, even if it's just through prayer. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thankful. I look forward to the holiday season because it's just a season that I love. But I love that feeling that you get in the holiday season, and I try to maintain that kind of feeling of love and anticipation and that childlike glee in your soul. I like that all year long too. And then to know that we're coming into the new year, a lot has changed, and some things have stayed the same. And we're going through. I feel like I'm going through a little blind because I don't know what the future holds, and it's a little scary. So I have all those feelings going on.
So when you say you don't know what the future holds, elaborate, Allie.
Um, it is fortunate that we are coming out, or at least it seems that we are coming out of the pandemic. But I as an individual, I do not believe in any way that it's over. I think we've seen the worst of it, but I do not believe it's over. And I do not believe that we are so far out of the woods that we can say it's never that it couldn't flare up again. Do you know what
I
I'm
agree.
saying?
I
We
agree with
we are, we are, we are because we only see where we're at, and we live on a globe. And
you.
what happens around the world goes around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm saying we might be more advanced in our technologies and with our medical advances and our access to it, but mm-mm. And so when you see what happened, you have to use that as a cautionary tale, and you have to have hindsight 2020 to say, for instance, me as an artist, my industry shut down all the way down.
Yeah.
There wasn't a place to go. There wasn't a note to sing. There wasn't. Now you could teach and you could do things creatively and for your heart and for people, even for pay or in this box. You know how I like to talk about the box. But I mean, you're talking about you have a career. You have a thing that you do every day. You get up, you do this, you do that. Whether you do it from 8 to 12 or 3 in the morning, or whether you do it from 8 a.m. to 5 in the evening. Whatever your thing is that you did, you had a protocol and a process that happened, and that process came to a screeching halt. So you always have to think, what's going to happen if that happens again?
Let me ask you a question, Allie. I want your opinion on this. Shout out to everybody that's watching. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Alyson Williams, First Lady of Def Jam, jazz aficionado, talented. If you haven't seen the show with Alyson, I please applaud. Please go see a show, Allie. Go see Alyson perform. No,
Come see me perform, and you can stutter like Bill.
yo,
I
listen,
will
yeah,
send
exactly.
you. I will. You won't be able to explain what you're trying to say.
Listen, I was about to gig on myself. That's why I got caught up. I was about to gig on myself. If anybody that's watching, you can see my name right now. It says Malika Forster. Malika did the show with Marilyn. So I was about to gig on myself first and say, yeah, this is Malika Forster tonight.
See, that's what you get for trying to be a comedian. This is what y'all need to know. We're gonna get. Don't lose your train of thought, because you know if you put it on me, that's what I'll do. Hold that question, Bill. Bill and I we go back so far till. We can try to have a nice grown-up adult conversation, but somewhere it's gonna just break. And she's gonna kick.
It's not going to happen.
This was that place. I'm like, why is he doing an Alyson Williams commercial? And why is he stumbling through it?
It's not gonna happen.
Bro, I love you. And thank you so much for the accolade. But if you can't tell him what it is, then stop it.
Yeah, right.
And now I realize that his whole focus was on. Oh, by the way, look at Malika's name, dude. You know what?
You got it.
That's what you get for trying to multitask, you old dude. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, we reaching them numbers. Yo, I appreciate it. Trust me. With COVID and all kind of shit, I'm so glad to touch.
I know. Listen,
Allie, you are right about that. I'm so glad to touch these numbers right
now. The alternative is really not fun.
Shit. Shout out to everybody watching. I see you, Pete. What's going on, man? I see you. Tashonda, what's going on? Collins said, please send some of that weight over to him. Collins, he divulged it himself, so I don't have a problem saying this.
I'm just gonna start going like this.
Yeah. Collins had a kidney transplant. He's doing right now. He's doing all right, to my knowledge. Amir, what's up, brother? You're always welcome to join in. Shout out to anybody that's always welcome to join in. What Alyson and I start chopping it up tonight. And Amir, I'm gonna send you the link in a few minutes, so you're just gonna bring your ass in, because we want to talk about the trials. We want to talk about life. Allie, I want to ask you your opinion too on what do you feel. Supposedly they've been canceling concerts with artists because they're not COVID. They haven't taken the vaccine yet.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on that? Personally and professionally.
Well, it goes back to what I was saying a minute ago before we fell apart, and now we're back together. I always have to think about what if we go back to what happened last year, and as an artist, I'm not able to go out and perform. What if I am able to go out and perform? How safe do I feel? How close are people? How are people taking heed to whatever the mandates are, or whatever the protocols that need to be in place are? I believe the vaccination is everyone's personal choice, so I can't speak into who is and who isn't. But like I said, like we said a year and a half ago, I'm not gonna stop short of what I think can be a layer of protection after I've already ingested a whole bunch of stuff that I knew would kill me if I did it and didn't do it and continue to do it. In other words, you know what I'm saying? What we decide to consume is what we decide to consume. And when it came to the vaccine, I decided to do it, and am now on the road to a booster, because I feel I want that layer of protection. And I feel like I want to be protected against other people. And in case there's something that we don't know, because there's a lot we don't know, that says that even though I've been vaccinated, I could catch it, because I've seen that happen. And maybe I can carry it and don't know it. So I feel, even though I feel I have a strong immune system and I know what to do to continue to keep it strong, I feel more protected with the vaccine, and I feel more protected around people that have been vaccinated. And in opening and canceling, if it means it's going to keep people safer, then maybe that's what they have to do. But it's unfortunate because it's taking work out of everybody's pocket: the artists, the musicians, the promoters, the people behind the scenes, the technical people, the folks who print a ticket, the people who, whatever. it's difficult for everybody. Excuse me, I lost my headphone. Yeah, it's hard on everybody, but I think if that's what has to happen, I just want to be safe. People, everybody has a theory. Well, the people that took it, they're going to have problems down the line. And the people who took it, they're trying to prepare us to do all kinds of other things where they can have access to all different parts of our lives. Well, as far as I'm concerned, they already got too much. And if they want more, they're probably going to get it one way or the other. But I had to do what I had to do, like I said, in terms of being vaccinated to feel safe and feel like I could move around the country because that's what I do for a living. The only thing I know for sure, I can't say whether this vaccine is going to turn around and bite us in the butt. I can't say whether, people are taking it. And I know I'm leaving eventually. I never was put here to stay forever. I'm not saying I'm ready to go. The only thing I don't know is when. But if this was the ride, this was the ride. And I took the shot. And if it's shorten the ride, shorten the ride. That's all I can say. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yo, I have some questions. I have a couple of questions for you. First and foremost, everybody, this is Real Talk. That's Alyson Williams. This is Bill Forster. If you like it, share it. If you want to join in on the conversation, hit me up, text me somewhere, find a way. I'll send you the link. Shout out to Tremel Thompson in the building. Tremel, I got to pull you in maybe Wednesday if you're free. We got to find out what's going on in transit or just in life. I love you. I love your energy and what you bring to the table. Tremel is a fighter. He's out there in the business, handling his business. Pete, what you said, 23andMe? My man Norman, he said, Bill, she's killing you. Yeah, absolutely, she is. He says he wants to ask Allie, how do you feel about Phyllis Hyman mental issues that she kept hidden? Al B, what's up in the building? I'm gonna send you the link right now, Amir. Text me and I'll send you the link. Allie, also too, I want to talk about Travis Scott's situation. You performed all over the world. What's your take on that? Which way you want to talk about first? You want to talk about Travis? You want to talk about Phyllis? You pick it, whichever way you want to go.
I think let's go with Travis first, and we'll come back to Phyllis because there's a conversation that I want to address. A certain way I would like to address it. Obviously, no, I won't say obviously. I'll say yes. I will say obviously. Obviously, a lot of corners were cut, and a lot of mistakes were made in preparing for a concert of this magnitude in terms of safety for everyone involved. The thing that surprises me is that Live Nation, who I believe were the people behind it, correct?
Yes.
They do this for lunch. They do this for a living. They know how to do this. So what happened that led to there being just such abandonment in terms of security and contingency plans and crowd management? What happened? I know we've been off for a while, but we didn't forget how to put on a concert. I can't say that Travis is on my on my playlist, so I'm not familiar with, except for what I've heard in media, that he has a tendency to be a little caution to the wind when it comes to how he is on stage and the things that come out of his mouth. A lot of performers, it takes you a while to figure it out. He's young. That's one thing I do know. You can't say everything that pops into your mind, because everything that pops out your mouth, your crowd is there for you and they will follow you on that.
Yes.
You are in control. And sometimes that's a lot of power. And we have to realize how to harness that power. What you say and how you put it out there is exactly what's going to happen. And his track record shows that he's been overly aggressive in or who he is kind of prompted some situations that were basically dangerous.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I just think this is a really, 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 really bad, hard lesson that he is going to have, that he has taken on, in his career.
And it's so funny. It's so funny. I've become to watch Travis Scott. He's not like I can't, if he's in my one of my playlists, I have no idea because I kind of stay early 2000s, 90s, 80s, all that, 60s kind of guy. I love that. But he seemed humble and he showed some humility in this situation. Not that he shouldn't have, but of course, paying the funerals. But the thing is, a lot of legalities has to do with him being either he was part of the promotional team that put it together. That therein lies the problem.
Mm-hmm.
If he was part of the promotional team, then that means he had decision making skills where he got to say, well, okay, shout out to Amir that's just chimed in. He'll comment in a minute. From a promotional standpoint, which I know a lot about, there are certain numbers that you have security per person. With that being said, if he was part of the promotional team, then he's definitely liable for a lot of situations. If he wasn't, then wow, okay, he can step back from that situation. But his name is on the forefront. Everybody, shout out to Amir Silly that's just
Hi, Amir.
Hello, Alyson. How are
there
you?
You go. You got the $1 million smile. Amir, what's going on, brother? Tell us what you're feeling on this situation.
Well, we kind of touched on that, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit the other day. You, myself, and the other gentleman, and we talked about it because we have been in the promotion game, like you said, and we know certain things. My take on this situation is like I said, I got a duality in it. I know that as the promoter and as the person who put the event together, there is a responsibility to ensure that everybody is safe and so forth and so on. But like I said, to some degree, we also got to wonder, how and what was the train of thought for some of the people who were involved actually at the concert. As I mentioned to you on a live that you had me on the other day, I was there the night of the City College thing with Puffy. I was literally there. I was at the front of the line. And just as that incident happened, I was in the pushing and the rocking and the back and forth. And myself and my friends at that time just decided, like, this is doing too much. There's too much tension here. Let's get off the line. The only thing I'm wondering, and like I said, in the case of Travis Scott, where was that for those people? Now, granted, they might have been inebriated. There could have been other, factors or things that factor in to that situation. So, we got to take that in as well. But I'm also saying to myself, we can't always just put the onus and the blame on situations that have so many other extenuating factors. To my understanding, there were some children at this concert. It was like a plethora of things that, to me, were all called into question. Like, look, I'm 52 years old. Me and my mom don't party we don't party together. We don't go to the same concerts, and I'm 52.
Let me, if I can just chime in, please. I'm Amir, not to cut you off, but that was a point that I was holding in my head, and I want to just get out before it falls out of my ear.
Yes.
I know that there was at least one really young life taken at that concert, and
9 years old.
9 years old, and this was what I heard on the news from the dad and from the family. He was an outgoing young kid, always loved to sing. Travis was his favorite rapper. I was taking Travis to see his favorite rapper. I understand what that is. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like it could be for any other kid. Some other kid, they might like rock and roll music. Their father's going to take them to go see their first rock and roll concert. That's something you do. But there's got to be something that tells you that this is going to be a rough crowd for a 9-year-old, no matter who I am. Do you know what I'm saying? You got it. So maybe Travis, you might not get to see Travis in this setting. I have to go with it's more of a controlled atmosphere, if there's such a thing, for me to take my 9-year-old son. I want to do this with him. I want to give it to him. And like I said, I don't know what Travis does. You say Travis Scott to me a couple of days ago, he was a country and western singer. I don't know. Travis Scott, didn't know. Okay. So I don't know what his rap is about. I don't know if he's appropriate for a 9 years old, a 9-year-old. And I'm saying I really don't know. I don't know what he says. I don't know
And
what his thing is. So taking all of that in consideration, you know what I'm saying? And at some point in time, you got it. You're gonna hear an F-bomb or something. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna take you to see whoever it is, and that's gonna be a responsibility that for me to explain that to you, and we're gonna bond on that. And I'm gonna say, yeah, I know you like this, and I know you like that. But I think this was not the place to take the 9-year-old.
and
That's what I'm thinking.
that's what that's what I was alluding to. My eldest daughter's 28, and I remember the first concert that I took her to was a B2K concert, and she was 13. I'll never
Mhm.
forget it because I was at the concert. I'm not familiar with B2K and and all that stuff, but she's 13. That's the music that she's listening to, and I'm there in the thing, sitting in the seat like this while the concert's going on. She's jumping up and she's happy or whatever. But I was making sure I monitored where she moved, how she moved, and so forth and so on. So again, where's the concern, and where is that part of the talk? See, it's easy to just say, well, like you said, his name was on it, this, that, the third. You're a whole adult. It's your job as the parent in this situation to go, hey, I gotta figure out a way to, like you said, still honor what my child, would like to see and experience, but I got to do it in a way that also protects him or her and allows us all to get out of here in a way where where we would be safe. And like I said, for me, that was the toughest thing that I took away from this, because I was like, so when the crowd got a little, like I said, the ruckus got a little crazy. Let me pull out of that. Let me move back. Y'all want to rock and roll? Okay, cool. I'm gonna get myself
I'm not gonna put my child in a mosh pit. Do you know what I'm
something.
saying? I'm not gonna do that. And also remember this, and this goes along, myself and Bob Law, who is a radio veteran and activist. He has a show that comes on. Bill, I know you're familiar with it, on Saturdays. And he had begun to put an organization called Lyrics Matter. And I'm just going to digress a little bit because we talk about the different rappers and people who are into a little bit more hardcore performance skills and styles and what have you. And the reason I'm saying it is because we talk about the fact that Live Nation knows what Travis Scott's track record is in terms of what he does in his performances. Just like they knew back in the day that Ozzy Osbourne bit off the bird head. They knew what he was going to do. They knew that somebody was going to wreck a guitar. They knew that Jimi Hendrix was going to slam all the equipment. They know these things, and they know how it usually turns out. But none of those people at the top that went into business with him as a promoter or even as an artist, even if you separate it, nobody was ever going to sit down and say, now listen, this is the deal. We know what you do, what you've been doing, what you like to do, but this is what we're going to ask of you. Nobody ever comes and has the talk because they're trying to get the bottom line, get the dollar. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I don't know, but I could imagine that if any of their children were there at the concert, they were somewhere safe. They were in the back, to the side, or the green room, or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, they probably weren't there. But nobody from that camp was going to come down and say, listen, Travis, we want to do this deal. And we know we can make a lot of money. And we think you do what you do it well. But you're going to have to, if you see somebody up on a rafter or on a light truss, you're going to have to talk them down, and not by saying, I dare you to jump.
Yeah, right.
We can't have you do that. Sound like a good idea at the time, but come on, I dare you to jump? Really?
Shout out to Kelvin, my big brother McElroy. He was saying at City College, which you mentioned, Amir, that I remember it so vividly because I was supposed to be there that day. A travesty. Colin also said, why would a parent take a 9-year-old to a mosh pit? You know what I'm saying? That's what Alyson also said. Amir, you just mentioned too about you taking your daughter, and it's so crazy. On a supervision level, you're there with your child. What worse mentality? What's the worst thing that you can understand is that you can't even protect your child from when the situation takes a total change. You understand what I'm saying? Derek said, yeah, read the crowd. Amir, you and I, we did talk about it before. like that sixth sense. Like, okay, wait a minute, this,
Something.
everybody crowding around is feeling different. I think we've all been someplace where we've been like, yo, this shit is too crowded. You understand what I'm saying?
The energy's changing. Yep.
And it's different to be in the VIP and then being in downstairs, amongst the masses, and even in the VIP sections. I've been in places with VIP sections where they've been like, okay, it's too crowded right now. You can't come here. No more sections in VIP. Alyson has invited me places. I mean, but just because everybody wants, that somebody. Oh, I'm with so and so, and then they let them in. People have entourages now. Every all of a sudden, you got 3 artists going on stage, but you got 40 people back in a place where it only holds 15. You know what I'm saying? And now everybody's like, you crunched up. That's not even pertaining to what's happening outside in the venue area. And like you said, I don't know Travis Scott. I guess his music genre doesn't appeal to us. So we wouldn't have been there unless we were in a parental guidance aspect. But the bottom line is that may not happen with the Temptations or something. It may not happen with New Edition. It may not happen with an Alyson Williams, because we would have been like, yo, all right. The one thing that we may get at an Alyson Williams concert or somebody else of that magnitude concert is, damn, I paid all this money for this front row seat.
Exactly.
That's about as hard as it's gonna get.
Yeah.
Or you're at Frankie Beverly and realize nobody's ever gonna sit down, so I might as well get my butt up too.
Yeah.
I might as well just stand on up, because ain't nobody gonna sit down. That's the protocol at this particular event. But this is what I want to say, at any event where you have large crowds of people, if there's if there isn't someone taking account of what's going on with the crowd can change.
Yes.
You never know. You could be at the Metropolitan Opera and somebody step on the wrong corn. It's on. It's on. But you know what I'm saying? So it's a crowd mentality kind of thing, a herd mentality kind of thing. And you have to realize there are a lot of people who were sniffing or smoking or doing whatever they do, drinking, and what anything can happen. I've seen stuff happen because you stepped on my shoe, or you pushed my lady, or there's different things that can set things off. But I just believe at this point in this situation, there was nobody watching the gate.
Yeah, like you said,
there was nobody watching the gate.
If you step on my foot, a bunion alert, you'd be like, oh.
but I mean, but there was no one to help de-escalate this situation.
Yes,
and you know about this. Both of you gentlemen know it, and especially you, Bill, because you come from authority enforcement and law and what have you, which leads into security issues. There were just so many blind security issues.
Yeah. Mark also said, what's up, Pete? I think I saw you at my man, shout out to my man, Mike Boogie, Mike Hollingsworth. Pete, was you down at his event? I think I saw you in the picture. Mark Rose said, Bill, it's sad that people died by Travis Scott, Lil Nas X promote some satanic nonsense. Not a fan of Scott. His stance on Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin made question his moves. I gotta look deep into that, the situation. I'm torn between a lot of these artists and their stance. I'm torn between a lot of way people are posturing themselves. Like I asked Alyson, Amir, I know you're not vaccinated yet, and I respect your right of choice, but like they just talked about recently the concerts of Rakim, KRS-One, and I think somebody else are being canceled because they're not vaccinated. Like I said, now Travis Scott. Now I know as even me, a person that loves the street, You know what I'm saying? Malika and I was just talking about this. Alice and I, we done took it to 4:00 in the morning hanging out. You know what I'm saying? And maybe even damn near longer. I miss hanging out. There's a part of me that miss hanging out. Amir, the last time I've seen, I don't know, maybe the last time I saw you, we was hanging out. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Maybe 2 times we was at Red Alert's event, but we was in Harlem at another event. So, but that was that camaraderie, just seeing people that you could converse with and hang out with. Like I ain't hang out with I see my martial arts brother, my dojo brother Derek in the building. We used to hang out every Sunday to watch the game together. Things have changed dramatically.
And it's the energy that we miss.
Yes.
There's an energy that I miss that tells me like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, I need to be getting dressed to go somewhere. And I want to go. And I know when I go, I'm going to have fun. And I'm going to have a few cocktails. I might even get to a second place. And then I'm going to get myself home. But now nobody's out that I would be out with. And if I go out, I'm afraid I might run into some folks who don't know how to have a good time on a mature level. Now I'm wrapped up in their madness. So now everybody's at home and it's 9 o'clock. And if I call them, they'll be like, oh, I was asleep. Hold on, I dozed off. I'm like, why am I the only one up?
No,
but it's that energy. It's an electric kind of energy and synergy that we miss that we used to have. I don't think it's that people don't want to go out. It's just that what's out there doesn't appeal to you anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's an evolution, a certain sign of maturity, because the bottom line is, like I was just talking, like I want to hook up with my dudes and do that and watch the game. But the bottom line is now, wait a minute, we're in an era like is similar to the AIDS thing. Wait a minute, I don't touch me, don't kiss me, the blood, oh shit, blood, don't, now if a person cough, whatever happens, COVID, because COVID is the new germ. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated, that's neither here nor there. Listen, I did what I had to do. I'm not knocking anybody else, but society has made it now. Wait a minute, if you don't take the vaccine, you're non-vaccinated and I'm vaccinated, I'm gonna look at you side eye. You know what I'm saying? Because you have it's almost like the haves and have-nots. You got a war or people's fighting against being vaccinated or not vaccinated. You got a war where people are talking about choice. Now, this is a real talk moment. I'm for everybody having their choice, right? But there is a time that we didn't have a choice when we went to school. Let me tell you something. A lot of us can talk about anything that we want to do with choice. When you go to that doctor, I know people that go to that doctor talk about, I'm not doing this. But when they go to that doctor and something else is wrong, and he says, oh, Bill, I'm going to prescribe you something. Next thing you know, that you popping them pills like they're Skittles. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. So you take what the doctor told you to take, and you're not looking for all the side effects that you think you're looking for when it comes to the vaccine. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, we all have choices. You got to think responsibly. We have to do things that are best for our own families and who we are as people. But what is to do? What are we to do? I think personally that society is going to divide us against the vaccine and the non-vaccinated. You know what I'm saying? People are going to force themselves to be out there in a party world, or it's just life in general, and try to enjoy life and do what they got to do. It's the woke and the sleepy, the unwoken, the knowledge, the knowledgeable, but the not knowledgeable. I mean, Amir, you and I have conversed about this so many times, and you make valid points, and it is just crazy that I just want you to be safe. I'm going to do everything I have to do to be safe. Alison's going to do what she has to do to be safe. And everybody out there that's listening in Real Talk world, you got to do what you got to do. But, you know, when we're talking about everybody's trying to rush out here back into a normal world, a concert. Like, think about it. Like, we just want to go to a concert. Like, all these people, the lack of responsibility that went through that Travis Scott concert is unacceptable. But, you know, going to maybe see a Alyson perform at a nightclub that still may put 300, 400 people in the spot. We still, at our age, we're going to move a little differently. Because Correct. I'm telling you, Amir, Alyson, I'm not going no place that holds 50,000 people. I'm not. Let me tell you something. When I start counting the numbers, 100, 200.
Wait a minute. Now, another thing you got to take into consideration. I want you to check your text message, Bill.
Okay.
What I was saying was, take into consideration too, when you're talking about a seated event, and I don't know, I couldn't tell from what I saw on the news. This was a stand-up event. This is a rap concert. They stand. These are young people. They stand. So now you got a different thing happening because you got more people per square foot squished into a space, as opposed to being seated. And even if you choose not to sit down and you stand up, you stand on your seat, it's still a different situation. Correct. You know what I'm saying? So all of that had to be taken into consideration when you're talking about security and how many people per square feet, how many people per, like you said, Bill, how much security per group of 100 or group of 300? Yeah. What does it take to govern that? Yes. What does it take to police that? And make sure that everybody can stay safe, and that they don't see people who are being erratic, or people who are being over the top, or people who are just wilding out. That can change the dynamic and the paradox or the paradigm of what's going on. It's already at a fever pitch. Okay, let's not boil over.
Correct.
And that's what happened. They boiled over.
Yeah, you're absolutely
right. They boiled over, and they looked up, and didn't nobody have a oven mitt or nothing.
You're absolutely right, Alyson. I think, a couple of things come to mind. I think the first thing that comes to mind is, like you said, the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated, I think, is a dangerous dynamic that they're trying to introduce to the public and put us all at risk where, like I said, now we're supposedly pitting ourselves against one another. The reason why I think that that's such a dangerous thing is because I'm sure in both of your cases, you have friends who not only in the entertainment industry, but are restaurateurs, business owners, so forth and so on. And I know this for a fact, and especially with both of you being Harlemites, there's nothing worse to me than the way that they're going about handling this thing at this particular time, because I see where I work in the city. I work on 59th Street. If you've been to 59th Street where Bloomingdale's is, there used to be a Gap over there. There used to be several thriving businesses. All of them are closed, by the way, now. All of them. Not one or two of them. All of them are closed. So if the Gap and, let's say some of these other bigger names, the Container Store and all that stuff can close by not having traffic, what do you think is going to happen to our friends who have restaurants and our friends who have bars and our friends who, what do you think is going to happen to their venues? Because they get way less traffic than those big places. But
we're talking about major Lexington Avenue, Fifth Avenue, looking like it looks like a war zone.
Okay, so with that having been said, the real reason why I'm so upset about all of this, what we can and what we can't do, and I know it sounds like a great idea, but it's not, because what you're going to do is force people whom we love and who have sunk in their blood, sweat, and tears into venues and things that they wanted to bring to the world and share with the world, to end up closing. And then that'll be taken back by the banks, who will then take that same take those same land and stuff and start giving it to people who don't look like us. So now you have to end up going to venues that they now own and spending your money in places that they now own. That's why I have a problem with this. That's what my beef is. It's not whether or not people are vaccinated or not vaccinated. And it's something that you said, Alyson, and you as well, Bill. You're right. It is a feeling that people are missing, because in theory, we are people who love to get together. That's what we do. Why? Because when we get together, you have a certain synergy and energy that goes off that is not like anybody else. We talk smack to each other. We compliment one another. We talk down to each other. We tell each other a new one, all kind of stuff. But that's what we do when we have the opportunity to conjugate, when we have an opportunity to get together. That's what makes us so dope. And that's what makes us so special. And it can go from everything from a impromptu singing moment to a rap concert to whatever in the blink of an eye, just like that. Doesn't
And
make
you
a
know what's
difference.
so funny? Let me just interject for a second. The beautiful thing about it is, and the sad thing about it is, it's not just a person a disease of color. It's a worldwide epidemic.
Yes.
Pandemic. You know what I'm saying? So you have white
Because
people.
we are human beings that like to get. That's the part about it. Humans were developed in such a way that they need other humans. We need to have the human experience in interaction in order to stay human, or else we become something else.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like Kyrie Irving took so much heat for what his stance, but then you got Aaron Rodgers placating and lying about shit. And I personally feel like he should be fined out his ass. But Green Bay, they don't have the same kind of regulations and stipulations that New York had. So that's why Kyrie is under the scrutiny he is. But Aaron Rodgers, he came up with the he's like, I'm what is his head? I'm whatever the word he used, I forgot that he's protected in a sense. And come to find out, he's free as a bird. You know what I'm saying?
Bill, if you could just, and I'm just gonna be devil's advocate for your listeners and your viewers like myself who might not be sports people. Can you just give us the Cliff Note background on what you talk about? Because you mentioned a couple of names and you mentioned some teams, and I'm like,
okay.
I know they did something. They did something, but when they mentioned that part, I probably went in the kitchen and got a glass of water and came on back, man. I was the sports
Alyson, here's the backstory. So you have Aaron Rodgers. You're welcome. So you have Aaron Rodgers, who is the one of the faces of the NFL. He's I don't want to call him a golden boy, but he's definitely one of the premier quarterbacks in the league. He has been for some time. They've always celebrated him. He's the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Green Bay Packers, if you have any idea about football, there are storied franchises that are part of football's folklore. Green Bay is one, Chicago Bears, the Giants, the Dallas Cowboys, the New England Patriots, so forth and so on. Long story short, the NFL, much like every other sporting venue, said that the players needed to be vaccinated in order to participate and play the game. Now, the problem that what we're talking about is Aaron Rodgers, according to him, took what he perceives to be vaccine adjacent, I'll put it that way, precautionary measures. So it wasn't he got vaccinated or inoculated like you guys did. He took some other precautions that he feels is equivalent to what it is you guys did. The league supposedly didn't know about it, but once it came out, we had to really think about that for a moment and go, how could the league and or the Green Bay Packers not know about this man's decision to do what he did? In the same breath, Cam Newton, who initially made his bones playing for the Carolina Panthers when he first came into the league, bounced around. He was playing with the New England Patriots at the start of during preseason of this year. Just before the start of the season, he was let go because he was choosing not to inoculate himself and or get the vaccination. And once those two parallels came to light, everybody was like, wait, Cam got killed because he didn't do it. This guy did, like I said, vaccination adjacent, and nobody's saying anything about it. So for all of us who are sports fans, we feel some sort of way, just like the regular folk do who say, you're vaccinated, you're not vaccinated, I feel some kind of way. So that's one thing.
And the other thing is now two questions I have. The first question I'm going to ask you to hold off on your answer. What did he do that supposedly was equal to what we did as vaccinated people, that he felt he was blanketed covered. What I want to know what it was. What, he take some zinc and sit out in the sun? What did he do? That made him think that, or did he get what the former president got when he went to the hospital? What did he do? Number one. And number two, now just to tell you, I've been paying attention. The Cam Newton guy got brought back to North Carolina. I'm down here. I know about it. Don't think I'm not paying attention, because I'm sitting down here and I'm supposed to know about these things, at least for general conversation's sake.
Yes.
So I know that they brought him back, and everybody's kind of on the, he did a lot. He did a lot. He's a good guy. He brings great team spirit. Apparently, he's a morale builder like nobody else. That's all I know about him. Yeah, and he's back. That's what I know. So now I want to know how that's going to play out. They were just talking about him being back, and how, whether he's either going to play, before the season. But I know a couple of things.
Yo, that is so old school. You said,
So to answer your question, Alyson, I'm not
first question.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure of what definitive steps he took. All I can say is, like I said, according to his explanation for it, he took something that he said was vaccine adjacent, meaning it supposedly protected him in ways that he said the vaccine was supposed to protect everyone else. And because of that, he felt as though, because he said that the vaccine,
right? Or something like that.
But he also said, all of the vaccines that they currently have, he has some allergic reaction to, quote unquote, according to him. That's what he said. I'm not, I'm just saying what he said. So according to him, the real reason why he didn't take it was because he has an allergic reaction to all of the versions done by the various pharmaceutical companies.
Gotcha.
So according to him, he went and found something that was vaccine adjacent. And that's why I'm putting it in those words, because I don't know exactly what he took or what, he did to vaccinate himself. Now, the reason why everybody is so up in arms is because, as you know, at the end of football games, all of the players get together and they hug each other and we give each other a pound and we, sportsmanship and all that stuff. And obviously, Aaron Rodgers has done that because he's been starting since the season started. Everybody's like, wait, how did he get away with this? And to Bill's point, we have Kyrie Irving, who is one of the point guards for the Brooklyn Nets, and a New Yorker who some of us are familiar with because we know of his dad and, so forth, and those of us in the basketball community.
Absolutely.
But he has been ostracized for, again, not taking the vaccine. Again, we have stringent, different rules here in New York City than some of the other places around the country. So he's trying to adhere to what the rules and protocols are here in New York. And obviously it's taking a toll on him, it's taking a toll on his team, and so forth and so on. Now, again, this is only because I got friends, all over the place. I will say this. In the case of Kyrie Irving and, what's going on, there are some other underlying factors that were going on in the background as far as him being vaccinated and or not being vaccinated. I'm not going to divulge that information because I heard it from a credible source, and when it comes out, I'll let it come out. But I will say this. What I find interesting is the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, and all of the sports that we so enjoy. Because as we remember, when the whole thing first happened, we canceled all of the sports. There was no people in the arenas, so forth and so on. Some of the teams got to play in a bubble and, all these varying things because they were trying to protect everyone. I get everybody being frustrated with the players because you say this player or, for instance, an artist such as yourself, Alyson, is not inoculated and we feel some way about that. But what I find even more interesting, and nobody seems to be holding those people to the fire, is the fact that the billionaire boys club that the NFL is, the billionaire boys club that the NBA is, those guys can't afford not to make their money. So do you really think they care about your health and your well-being? I want y'all to think about that. See, nobody talks about that part. We are mad at each other and we, throwing, accusations and this about artists and about sports figures and all that stuff. But the reality of it all is this. These guys have billion-dollar organizations that they can't afford to have it lose money. And it loses money when there are not butts in the seats and not people cheering for their teams.
This is
Now,
exactly what I was saying about the people who at Live Nation, the higher ups in that industry, who know what is coming to town when you bring Travis, and nobody said anything.
so
No
to
one
that
had
point,
that. Nobody had the conversation.
So to that point, what we're really up against is a system that has been put in place, one to kind of take our minds supposedly off of what's going on in the world, because that's what sports is supposed to do. You're supposed to, you know, leave your regular everyday whatever, cheer for your favorite team or your favorite players, and so forth and so on. And most of us do that. But the bigger picture is this: those sports figures are human beings just like us. So if y'all think just like entertainers are, they're human beings just like us. So if y'all think that they don't have the same issues and the same things that we go through, then you're fooling yourself. And I'm sick and tired of people saying wonderful things to me like, but Amir, they get paid millions and millions of dollars. So you're upset because maybe your brand of work or whatever it is you do doesn't pay you millions of millions. That's your fault. That's not their fault. So stop using that as an excuse. Because
And you know what's so funny? Let me interject for a minute. Like
Okay.
we have NYPD, we have FD, we have a lot of city agencies in our city that are pushed against the wall to take the vaccine, whether they want to or not. Just came out in the news that they caught people in FD buying fake vaccine cards.
Vaccination cards.
Yeah, vaccination cards, which is crazy. With that being said, let me just read some of the comments and statements from people. Colin said, Elizabeth said, amen. That's insane. A crowd of people standing. We're talking about the Travis Scott thing. Colin said, last summer, my nephew said he was taking the vaccine because he doesn't know what's in it. He wasn't taking the vaccine because he didn't know what's in it. I asked him if he knows what's in the nutcracker that he just bought from the guy
on the corner. Right.
Exactly. I totally get that. Pete, yeah, your nephew. He said, Pete said, your nephew and my your nephew must know my niece. Exactly. And I saw you at the thing. Vivian, what's up, Vivian Garcia in the building? My man NW Lewis. There is a formula for safety personnel per number of people in New York, 1 per 75 for an indoor event. Absolutely. I've told that before from a security standpoint. I've said that from a promoter standpoint. For those that don't know, I have a background in that, a very big background in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a big background in law enforcement. So I know both aspects of that. And safety protocol is put into place when you have, like Lewis said, 1 per 75. Once upon a time, it was 1 for 25. The numbers have changed a little bit, but you do that for crowd control, crowd participation, management. You know what I'm saying? Listen, can't do this, can't do that. Stay over here, get back over there. This and that situation. That was a terrible situation to Travis Scott. It should have never happened in this day and age. And we'll find out who's to blame with that situation. With that being said, also want to talk. We're going to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse, Ahmaud Arbery situation. We got everybody. This is Real Talk Chronicles. We talk real shit. Stop playing. We talk real shit out here. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you're listening to on TV, but we talking real shit. Or I don't know what podcast you listening to. Hey, Stefania says she was taking a nap. Get up. Get your ass up. Because you mentioned you
Get up.
You asked about Phyllis Hyman, and I want to talk about this too because Allison's going. Norm, I didn't forget you with the question about Phyllis Hyman and the mental health thing. So
I'm on a rude show. I'm on a rude show. Just snatching people out the bed. Get up.
Get up. Get up. You know what I'm saying? Stefania said there's always a double standard. Absolutely. Lewis said Rogers playing somatic. Yes, with that it was inoculated. Yeah, that's inoculated. That's the word he used. And I'm inoculated. That's the shit like Jada said with Will. we have an entrapment or some shit. What is that? What the word she used?
Entanglement.
An
Entanglement.
entanglement.
Ooh.
But
Ooh.
but you know what,
That's
Bill?
good shit. Entanglement.
You
Let me
know,
tell you something. I wish I could say some damn shit like that to me, Malika. Talk about I had an entanglement. Yo, yeah. This is
Did you
the
now?
Real Talk Chronicles show.
Oh, what a
Yeah.
wicked.
You'd be like, oh, he was a good dude. I mean, flowers up. You know what I'm saying? Entanglement. Knock it off. You know what I'm saying? Elizabeth, what's up? Hunter College in the building. She said, come on, Allison, speak on it. Love your hair. Looking beautiful as always. I love it. Oh, shout out to Alley Cat in the building.
Thank you.
Stefania said Aaron Rodgers pulled it. Okie doke. He sure did. Ivo, I see you in the building. So listen, Stefania said, it's like I'm your massa. Go make the money, boy. Yeah. Listen, there's a lot of situations going on.
yeah.
Listen, you talk about it. You speak it. We'll talk about it. Kyle Rittenhouse.
I'm trying to tell you.
Amir Aubrey. Listen, Travis Scott. A lot of stuff going on out here in this world. Everybody, please do what you have to do for you to be safe. Because who am I to tell you how to protect yourself? I'm not going to tell you that, but I'm going to tell you how I'm going to protect my black ass. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
That's everybody's job. That's your job. That's
protect
somebody's job is not to protect you. It's your job to protect you. I look, they have done such a great bait and switch with that whole ideology, which is why we have the divide that we have. But to something that you just said, I want to just address real quickly
go ahead, please.
The Kyle Rittenhouse thing. Now, obviously, I don't think that we're going to get justice in this particular circumstance. And the funny thing is, it really isn't justice for us. Judging from what I've seen of the people who were victims of this young man's terroristic act, they were people not of color per se or whatever. So that's
Amir, hold that thought. Let me tell you something. I just want to say this. I'm gonna let you finish, but I have to say this. It seems like people of color have a bigger fight for this situation than white people. And listen, cancer culture, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say because it's Real Talk Chronicles, right? People of color are speaking up about justice, right? The bottom line is the reason why he was out there was for another cause. The reason why those white individuals that got shot was for our cause. So the problem is the reason why maybe we're not seeing a lot of hoopla. I'm gonna use that word for old school people. Hoopla is because they got shot for people of color cause. The white individuals that got shot were for causes of people of color.
They were out there as advocates for us.
Yes. So the bottom line is now we're gonna change. Now you got different people changing the narrative on this about self-defense. You got to wait. First and foremost, I'm tired of seeing white people, and I'm only going to say this one time. Not that I'm talking about white people, but I'm talking about the white people that are doing this. And I go back, Amir, you and I talked about this before. Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman, his punk ass, right? Other white people, that's how we label the Karens and stuff like that go out and do these things on this Call of Duty or this righteous situation, and then end up getting their ass handed to them. And then all of a sudden now they use the system to protect themselves. Because that's what this little young punk did. He went out there, and his mother, me personally, his mother should be held accountable. How do you take your 16-year-old punk ass son to a situation and go out there? I'm gonna let y'all rock in a minute, but take your little punk ass son to a situation, and he's carrying a gun that has more power than his punk ass, and then he can't handle the business that's brought to him. When dudes is coming at him like, yo, I'll fuck you up, excuse my language, I'll bust your ass. And then he's like, yo, now he's busting off. Now all of a sudden he's Call of Duty. With that being said, it's so sad that now from a law enforcement standpoint and listening to all the legalities and being an expert witness for testimony, he might get off. And in there lies the problem, because the thing is, we're looking at, and that judge.
You think he's not going to get
judge
off?
Is a monster. Yeah. That judge is a monster. He's a piece of work. Let me tell you something. Amir, I'll let you go, and then Ali, tell me what you're feeling. I just want to comments. Go ahead.
I just want to make two quick points. To the point that you made about his mother, first of all, I think she should be under arrest as well, because I just don't understand in this day and age how, to your exact words, this mother drove her 17-year-old son across state lines, by the way. She didn't drive him from the neighborhood to the mall in the same town. She drove him across state lines. She's not being held accountable for this foolishness. And the reason why I bring that up is because we know for a fact that right now we have some African-American mothers who are sitting in jail because they changed the address on their kids' paperwork so that the kid could go to a better school. This kid didn't commit a crime, didn't hurt anybody. The kid just trying to go to a better school. And those mothers are in jail. This lady took her son across state lines, like you said, open carry state and all that aside, with a loaded assault rifle or whatever it is, and nobody is saying anything about that. Nobody seems to think that that is not mind-blowing. I say that for this reason and this reason alone. We've all on here have probably been raised by African-American mothers. In my mother's house, you couldn't come in with somebody else's jacket or something that she didn't buy for you, that she didn't question you. Hey, that's not your jacket. Go and take that back to Jack. Get your jacket back. I didn't buy that for you, so forth and so on. So I'll make that point. The second point I want to make about him, like you said, possibly getting off, this is me speaking for me. Our government and the people who run the judicial system are petty. And because the verdict came down in the George Floyd situation and they took an L, they're going to try to get a win. I can tell you that unequivocally. I'm not saying that to be mean or facetious. I'm just telling y'all, when you look at the history of our government, you look at the history of this country, they hate to take L's under any circumstance. I don't care what it is. They take an L, they're trying to find a way to come back and get a win. So for me personally, I think that's the real two reasons, or, that's the real reason why this young man is going to get off, because they still mad about the George Floyd thing, which obviously, just based off of what we were able to ascertain from what we saw, was seemingly open and shut. But everybody else seemed to make it some other kind of convoluted situation. I'll leave those two things and I'll let Alyson speak, because I'm like, his mom's
listen, we're gonna bring this up Wednesday. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles with my host Alyson Williams. I'm your co-host Bill Forster, and we got our special co-host, our brother Amir Sealy, who's always part of this family. Listen, I asked you if you guys are free, come in Wednesday. We could chop it up some more about this situation. But Ali, give me your take on this situation before I read some of these comments, please.
I'll be really, really brief. When I first saw the news feed and the video clips, I was immediately riveted because I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I saw somebody who came into knowing the reality of what they had done and couldn't catch. I haven't seen anybody cry like that or supposedly cry like that since I was in 8th grade or 7th grade. It's like, I did it. No, and that's what I looked at. I was like, is he really busting down like this? What is going on? Yeah. And I was like, I didn't care if it was crocodile tears or whatever, but I knew there was something there that says, I know I did something really, really that I shouldn't have done. And now it's coming down on me. He didn't have a dog in that fight. He should have never been there. His mother, I don't know what she was thinking. Where are they getting these weapons from? And how is it that he did all that he did, and at some point they sat him down and gave him a glass of water? I'm already resolute that this is not going to end well, and he's going to get off. And that's how I feel today.
Yeah. And so
those are my feelings.
Let me read something.
Had it been us, had we been walking down the street with a cardboard cutout of a gun, it just would have been a different day.
Yo, Ali, what you said? A cardboard.
Right? A cardboard cutout of a gun. Right.
Listen,
If we had a gun pointed at ourselves, they would have done. I mean, come on. Just come on. When does it? How come the dynamic, the paradox just changes so incredibly till it's like you're just looking at it and going,
and you know what's funny?
really?
If you guys are free, I want you to join us Wednesday. I want to pick that up because a lot of times Kevin and I get into this conversation offline about white privilege, and you know, this has nothing to do with disliking a white person.
Not at all.
But the bottom line is understand that there's privileges that are allotted to you that you would never understand. The bottom line is, like Alyson said, like you said, Amir, like, listen, this dude, if we walk down the street with a cardboard, listen, we got a young man that got shot, 12-year-old boy. They told the dispatcher he might be a toy gun. Yeah, and you still shot him. The mindset, unbeknown to us, and you want us to be sympathetic. Like, you know, we could talk about what's the thing that they're trying to do? They're canceling out the education of our history.
Yes.
Let me just read some of the comments that's in the group. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. That's Alyson Williams. That's Amir Sealy, and I'm your host, Bill Forster, too. We got the family in the building, baby. We chopping it up hard body. Listen, this is the only place that we're going to talk with the issues that you want to talk about. And if you don't want to talk about them, then it ain't the show for you. I can't help you with that. Elizabeth said, she said that. I saw that. I'm going to keep it. It's like you said. Stefania said, it's like I'm your master. Go make my money, boy. Absolutely. We're talking about the Aaron Rodgers. So he said, Allie, I was asking Bill Forster about Phyllis Hyman. LOL. I love her. Were you able to work with her? We're going to get that because Norman, my shout out to my college basketball brother, and Stefania, we talked about Phyllis Hyman. So before we close out, we're going to talk about Phyllis Hyman and her connection with Alyson, and Alyson was deemed, dubbed, whatever adjective you want to use, the second coming of Phyllis. And I want her to elaborate that before we get out of here. So Stefania, Norm, keep that questions prevalent. Stefania said the judge dismissed the underage carrying as an assault rifle charge. What a joke. He took a lot of charges away from him. My man Lewis, my dojo brother, he said the fact that the child was in a state not his, with a firearm not registered in the state and not hired as an agent to protect any property in that state, regardless of who he shot, he shouldn't have been there. Exactly. Yo, listen, from a law enforcement standpoint, I always say I'm a layman lawyer. Shout out to Cheryl White in the building, Pep Murray in the building. What's up, Pep? Listen, when we start looking at these laws, we have to understand what benefits us and what benefits them. And we need to understand how it benefits us when it happens. You know what I'm saying, Amir? You know what I'm saying, Ali? Because the bottom line is the shit gets convoluted when it starts talking. Because right now, the reason why I tell people that this little punk, another fucking punk, excuse my French, everybody, it infuriates me to see people go someplace that he should never been. Listen, if you're not a fighter, don't go in the ring. Stay outside, gamble, bet, buy some hot dogs, buy a bonbon, but don't go in the ring and fight when you're not a fighter. And then when you go in the ring and you start getting hit, talking about, yo, he abused me. It's unacceptable. Let me just read some more comments, and Amir, I know you want to say something. Lewis says sending a kid to a school in a different school districts. Exactly. I'm confused. Shout out Cheryl. Lewis said, name one black person who got off on a criminal charges because he had too privilege of a life. It's never happening. Listen, everybody, I'm gonna tell you a story real quick, and I'm gonna let you comment, and Mia, and I'm gonna let you, Ali. I you know, I was going around the country doing speaking engagements and trying to help the advancement of people of color. I got a text, and I won't mention, about a young African American, a teacher that I mentored. I went and spoke at the school, and it happened in Harlem. It made news, and he got killed.
Oh.
Right? Shot in the street. So it just shows, no matter what I'm trying to do, what we're trying to do, that it, like, the system, the streets are still so prevalent. Like, I wasn't able to go to the funeral, but damn, like, yo, we lost another young black dude, black or brown. We just lost somebody. You know, we have to put color on things sometimes, not because we want to, but we have to. But the crazy thing is, like, yo, a young kid, and then they send me the picture of the young kid that was there, and you know, he developed a love for me because the way I brought it to the conversation. But you know, it's sad that we're losing youth. Now that's black on black crime. That's a whole nother topic. It's a whole nother topic. But the bottom line is, we have to do better. We have to educate. We have to like, help ourselves. We have to help the youth. Listen, I don't know, Allie, you can comment on this. Maybe you can comment on this because you're a little bit behind us. And I say a little bit, it's only about 2 steps. You know what I'm saying? Allie, you know this. The music that we were brought up on was about, I miss you, I love you, and I want you back. You know what I'm saying? We was brought up on that we're the 3 of us right here are the historians of the rap generation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We saw the rap world, we saw rap become a music.
A global, force. Yes. You're right.
Seen rap become from party to diss, but not disrespect. We've seen rap not even be a curse word. Now, I don't know what the hell I'm listening to. Unbeknown to me, I don't even want to listen to it. But I just say all that to talk about this young man. And I pay homage to him. Rest in peace to his soul. A young man that I don't know what he ended up getting involved in. I take a little onus of that because, you know, this is some kid I talked to. You know what I'm saying? And I spoke to him, and he liked me. You know, but you know, I can't be there every day, and that's the sad thing about it. But then to get that news that somebody says, yo, Detective Forster, you remember so and so? And I'm like, yeah, what happened to him? He was the one that got murdered, cold-blooded in the streets of Harlem. So just rest in peace. Amir, Ali, go ahead. Say your piece on certain things, and I'll read certain other things. Go ahead.
Well, I think too, you know, something that you said. Obviously, one of the real interesting caveats we have as the gatekeepers of being the bridges between the elders and the youth is this bridge that doesn't seem to, you know, we don't seem to be extending olive branches from either side. Now, I'm not saying that you, myself, or Alyson is not doing it. I'm talking about in general, that appears to be what the situation is. You look at the current state of rap music, and you look at the current state of music in general. To me, this is no disrespect to any of today's artists. There's no disrespect to any of today's rappers or any of that. This isn't my music. This isn't my generation. So the things that they're rapping about, the stuff that appeals to them and or seems like it makes sense to them, I have no semblance of, because I came up at a different time in a different era, and learn things differently than what these kids are learning. They've come up, technically speaking, in an electronic age. We are all old enough to remember before electronics, meaning typewriters, when before it was electronic and it was the click, 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 click.
Yeah.
So we got that. We remember cassette players where you had the tape and you had to flip it over and play the other side. So we remember before downloading music or streaming music, as they call it now, and all these varying things. But to your point about music, and Alyson is obviously the resident on this. I had the pleasure of this Saturday. I went to the new Harlem comedy club that's in Harlem on 117th over there by the mall, Applebee's and all that, where the new lighthouse is. The new comedy club. Long story short, though, I bumped into this wonderful lady named Denise. I think her maiden name was Dunning or Deming, but I know she's part of the group Sky.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I literally bumped into her. We were in the same venue and we struck up a conversation, and then she went on to tell me who she was. So I went and, looked up the music. And I was like, oh, shoot, this is all the music that I grew up on. I love. But I bring that up because songs like Let's Celebrate and, some of the other songs that they're known for, to your point, they were celebratory. They were songs that made us feel good and put us in a state or an energy that allowed us to feel euphoric and happy. A lot of what these kids are listening to now, and I find myself on the internet tuning in on various things. There is some talk of the way the rap music is set up in this particular format, the frequencies at which it's played, they say has a psychological effect on the youth and on people. So there's all these varying things that we're up against that, for the most part, a lot of us don't know or have an understanding of. We have to have these conversations. This is why platforms like yours are so important, because somebody might come across this later and go, Amir mentioned about frequencies. Go look these things up, because the more information you have and the more information you know, the better educated decisions you can make about how to go forward and what you can do to better situations. I know for a fact, I say this all the time, songs like I Gotta Get Away, I Gotta Do It Now, I Gotta Walk It. For me, those are all still some of my favorite songs, because
Don't stop it. Keep going, baby. Let me
they always put me in a state. And like when I'm on the train, and I'm listening to my music, that's what I have playing in my ears, those kinds of songs, because they put me in that energy. I'm bobbing my head, I'm rocking side to side. And it's always funny to see people looking at me crazy, like, well, what is he listening to? Now I see people, just like Alyson, I know she's doing it, for the purposes of, being able to talk to us. But I see people with headphones on and they listen to the music and you look angry. What are you listening to that for? Put on something that's going to make you happy. Why would you?
How about people walking down the street who are repeating what they're hearing in their ear? And I'm almost like, wait a minute, are you getting ready to slash me? Because you talk about, because I'm a slashing nigga when I fuck a fuck a really? Okay.
Yo, Allie, you're right. I see cats walking down the street. I'm gonna kill her. I hate you, and I'm gonna shoot you, and that's what it's gonna be. And you be like, yo, and you spitting that shit, and you
like
that's what you want. That's what this is what I want to say. I want to lead it into the Phyllis, and I know we're running short on time. Music is a barometer and a temperature taker. And even during the eras way before you, Bill, way before me and Amir, when music was geared more to quote unquote a white society per se, even though black people were producing the music, you know what I'm saying? We were creating the jazz and the bebop and the so on and so forth. The thing is that you listen to the music and you were able to tell what time it was in the nation. Do you understand what I'm saying? When Motown came and flooded the radios, we had music that told us, it was summon you to the dance floor, but also have a message. Do you know what I'm saying? We talked about My Girl. We talked about, and we had a way that we spoke to each other, about each other, and for each other. We had the, Mavis Staples, the Staples singers. You know what I'm saying? Respect yourself. I'll take you there. We had Curtis Mayfield. We had a lot of people, Marvin Gaye, telling us and asking us the questions. And because we had that music that would, wash over us, we acted within that way. Now, did it stop drugs? No. Did it stop a murder? No. But it made a difference. And if you listen to the music now, You will, and look at the way our nation is right now.
You're right.
It's a direct coalition. Yes, sonically, the frequencies, the subject matter that we're choosing, the way we're choosing to put out. Yes, rap was one of the ways. Rap, not hip hop. Rap was one of the first ways that we were able to express ourselves from the bottom level. Do you know what I'm saying? We didn't have to make it pretty, and it didn't need a bunch of strings. It was the real deal. It not only changed the music and the landscape of music, but it changed the culture, created a culture. But like you said, it wasn't always about how I'm going to do dirt. I'm going to do the worst for you, or I'm showing you, it's all about material. I remember when I don't, I mean, it's so much flooding right now till it's just hard for me, because this
Yes.
is what I do. This is what I do, and I want to speak intelligently and get my point across. But don't push me, because I'm close to the edge. We talked about everything. We saw those broke down buildings and those cracked
Yes.
bars and those hypodermic needles. We saw all that, but we could play it on the radio.
Yes.
If our
Right.
Yes.
5-year-old came and said, "What does that mean?" You could explain that. That probably didn't have to explain it because they were seeing it. But I'm just saying, we've got to look at what it is that's being put out there, how it's being put out there, and it all has a really, just like you said. I mean, we got to look this up and understand why we're in. And then our government is what it is, so that's topsy turvy. The music is topsy turvy. We got this pandemic on top of us. There's a lot of stuff in the mix right now that are causing this nation to be fragile and crumble. In so many ways, and music is in there, because music is that's our form of expression. Do you know what I'm saying? And yes, I think everybody should have theirs, but we got to take responsibility for what we put out there, because once it's out there forever, and it's out there for everybody. And what I'm saying is, it ain't for everybody.
Absolutely.
So we got to figure that out. Let
me just say this. I appreciate you both so much. Amir, you've come like the honorary co-host. You might as well kind of join us sometimes. I mean that from a love aspect. Your intake, on what you give. If Alyson is cool with that, you're always welcome to join us, and you're welcome to join us for any show. But this is Alyson's puppy and my puppy, so But we enjoy your intake. I love my sister Alyson so much. The beautiful
Thank
thing.
you.
The one thing that Allie and I always know that we can talk about. And Alyson is one of the birth parents to Real Talk Chronicles, and we never had a topic. For anybody that knows about Real Talk Chronicles, we don't come with a topic. We talk off the cuff, like. Okay, what are we going to talk about tonight? So, you know what I'm saying? We may come in with we might talk about the trial. All right, but we ain't going to stay on the trial. We're going to go wherever.
Well, there's a lot of information out there to be gathered and to be given, and that's what we try to do, and then give you the listeners and viewers a chance to chime in as well. The last thing I'll say is, I don't say that there's not good music out there. Even though we get older and our ear palette changes, and every generation has somebody that goes, "What the hell is that? Turn that noise down." We've become those people now. Right. Okay, but the thing is that there's good music out there. The playing field has been brought in, because now there's so many ways for you to get whatever suits your palate directly. With the internet, you can go right to what you want, which is a good thing too. And I'll just say, from my standpoint, what it is that listen to what you hear all the time, because that's what's gonna and that'll let you know. Because there's a lot of good music out there with positive information, and that could be giving us a different message. But the majority of the music that we hear is not really correlating with that. And there's a reason. If you want to know what that, just follow the money. And I'll leave it with that. I want to get to just a couple of questions.
Hold on. I just want to talk about her. Talk about Phyllis. Everybody. Mm-hmm. I had some questions about Phyllis Hyman, and knowing Alyson for the years that I've known her, I'm going to let her answer the questions that you've had about Phyllis Hyman. So, Norman, Stefania, you asked, multiple questions about Phyllis Hyman. Um, I'm going to give you the chance to ask your questions again about her, because the bottom line is is imperative and it's important that Alyson, that has a firsthand knowledge of Phyllis Hyman, before we get out of here, that she can elaborate on Phyllis, because the bottom line is you touched on a plethora of things. You talked about mental illness, when my man Norman Davis, that I played college ball with, that Norm doesn't have a problem with me. We talked about this yesterday. That tried to commit suicide, right? So we're talking about the pressures of mental illness. We're going to talk. He's going to come back and have a conversation. And he was a law enforcement officer, and the pressures that he accrued from being in law enforcement. He now is an amputee because of diabetes, which put extra pressure on him, and probably wanted to take his life. He tried to kill himself, and he tried to shoot himself and take his life and he tried to shoot himself 3 times in the head. Wow. He dry fired, and it didn't happen. And we discussed this last night, and I felt so bad because, and Alyson knows this is the effervescent of Real Talk. You don't know who you touch and how you help them, and I felt so bad because I was like, yo, this is my college dude, and unbeknown to me, I didn't know he was going through this. He just became an amputee in April, and I'm talking about a guy that was an athlete, 6'7", played ball overseas, and then he got into law enforcement, dealing with the problems of law enforcement. Unbeknown to a lot of people, this shit ain't really blue. So stop it with that blue. For my white friends and Latin friends, or black friends, anybody in law enforcement, don't stop it with we're blue. We're not blue. There's light blue, there's dark blue, and there's the blue that people that want to be a part of the blue. You know what I'm saying? Knock it off. He's going to come on the show. He's going to come on with Dr. Corder, but he's going to come on maybe some other shows and talk about the situation. I'd love for you guys to be there in that point, because the bottom line is mental shit. I'm not going to say illness. I'm going to say mental situations in lieu of him, because we have to understand, being the man, the woman, and then having to succumb to certain illnesses and problems is traumatic, unbeknown to what we think we are, because all of us here think we're that person. We really do. You know what I'm saying? We've all been that person somewhere, somehow. I mean, Alyson, you more visibly than anybody, you get the applause. Wait a minute, I didn't hear that. Now wait a minute. We don't even know what that psychologically can do to us. Amir, you and I both, from different aspects, can hear that applause. Then we hear, huh? What's going on? It's a whole psychological game. With that being said, let's talk about Phyllis Hyman, Alley Cat.
Okay.
And break it down. Let me just read some comments real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, Elizabeth, Liz, my Hunter sister, she said, "Hey, shout out to everybody that's watching. I'm just trying to catch up to all the comments that you're saying and stuff like that." Mark, you said, making a mixtape off the radio station. Remember the pause button? Elizabeth said, "Got one better. I still have an 8-track tape. LOL." Exactly.
Wow.
Everybody, this is beautiful. Elizabeth said, "I'm just reading comments. I don't know in the order." She said, "Bottom line, the mother shouldn't have taken him there. At the same token, a parent trying to enhance her child's education go directly to the jail for changing an address for a better education. Damn, we want messages that would send." Mark said, Lewis said, name one black person who got off on a criminal charge because he had too privileged a life. Exactly. Cheryl said, okay, walking with a hero sandwich. You're right. You know, she's not lying. I just want to read comments. I'm coming at everybody. Apologize. I'm offline on what I'm saying. Mark said, I'm a good brother. My sincere condolences for the loss of such a young child. Yeah, man, it messed me up when I got that message. Elizabeth said, never be others. No dancing around. Real Talk Chronicles keeps it 100. Thank you. Stefania said, she said, I so wish that she was still here. You could feel her sadness through some songs, especially Lying All Alone. Allison, what do you think about that? And you can go right into talking about Phyllis Hyman, because that was a conversation and only you know about that situation. Go ahead.
I'm gonna preface it this way, Bill. We are going to have a show that will focus on Phyllis Hyman and not just mental illness, but mental wellness. Having said that, if you say that's okay, I will say that 25 years ago or so, we lost Phyllis. I have a specific story. I had a very close relationship with Phyllis. I was, in certain ways, I guess you could say, involved with the situations that unfolded a week before her death. I know that when Phyllis Hyman committed suicide, it was not her first attempt. It was the attempt that stuck. And she had been diagnosed as bipolar, manic depressive, and things of that nature. And for reasons of her own, she didn't want to be medicated because she felt the medication changed her. But then she was also a human being and she wanted to do everything else that she wanted to do. And that wasn't a good thing either. I can go into a lot of depth in terms of what I know of Phyllis Hyman. She became my sister friend in this industry from a relationship that started out as singer to singer fan, and then we bonded over many years. And like I said, at the end, ironically, I was there in certain areas. I don't want to say it because I know that there's a plan for this story to be told and put on a front stage. 1 year after Phyllis passed, I was called by the Whispers to be in a play called Thank God the Beat Goes On. And we traveled for 2.5 years. The show was a show about, at that point, the 40 years of the Whispers in the industry. And it was told through the eyes of the custodian or the janitor of a place like the Apollo USA, anywhere around the country, any theater like that. And that night, the Whispers were coming back home to that theater, and they were going to be honored for their 45 years in the industry. And he begins to tell the story of how they started in Oakland. Dream sequence. When they get to the pinnacle of their career, they become the Whispers. They're grown. They say, and if anybody comes from a certain era knows that a great ticket at one time was the Whispers and Phyllis Hyman. So they started. So I was called in to play Phyllis to represent those years and to also represent the fact that on the night that Phyllis died, she was supposed to perform at the Apollo with the Whispers. Got that part? Okay, we got that part. After we finished this show, after 2.5 years, people were saying to me on a regular, when are you going to do the Phyllis Hyman show again? When are you going to do the Phyllis Hyman show again? At which point I had to explain to them, I didn't do a Phyllis Hyman show. I did a show about the Whispers, and Phyllis was an intricate part of it. And she was an intricate part of it, not only because they had many years of friendship behind the scenes as friends, personally, as well as on the stage as business colleagues, but because her death was so intricate to their life. You know, anything you rip from the newspapers is going to be a seller. And so that's what you witnessed. You didn't witness a Phyllis Hyman show, but that's what sticks with you because of the way the show was put together and what I did. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but I played Phyllis Hyman. And I think I did well enough for people to remember that. At that point, I realized, Alyson, you need to put together a show that actually does pay homage to Phyllis. So I put a show together called Old Friends. Alyson Williams sings tribute to the legendary Phyllis Hyman. In that show, I have about 17 or 18 songs, and I take her life from Pittsburgh through Florida to New York, Broadway, record deals, love lost, the whole gamut, telling the story. And I also speak about the mental illness issue and how it affects people of color, especially, and what the millions, what the numbers are, the statistics. I've been doing the show over the last 25 years. Last year, we just celebrated the 25th anniversary of Phyllis's death. My platform now is to reach out to the Taraji P. Hensons, the Charlemagne the Guys, the Courtney T. Vances, all the people that I know that have causes that are rooted in mental illness, because I believe this project could be a musical experience for people to have while opening the conversation of what it is.
Very nice.
Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're giving a gala or you're giving a dinner or something like that, and you're trying to raise money for the cause or get an institute opened, then this should be the thing that you have up on the stage as the entertainment for that night. That's what I'm looking at, and it can travel. My other thing that I'll say, and I won't say anymore, is that if there can be a Tina Turner on Broadway, there can be a Phyllis Hyman on Broadway. The music is the star of that show. And I'm not saying I got to play it. I'm just saying I have the story, and I have a story that nobody else has. So in saying that, I can't say much more, but this is where I am with Phyllis. She was an incredible human being. She was multifaceted. She was funny as hell. And I miss her. And I was pleased to be someone that they looked at and said, oh, she's the next coming of a Phyllis Hyman. They looked at me and figured, she's tall, she wears hats, she's blah, blah. Yeah, I was inspired. But Phyllis was 6'1" in her stocking feet. I'm 5'9", and I'm sticking to it. But I'm just saying, this is how people look at you, and so they draw you into that. I'm a ballad singer. Phyllis is a ballad singer. Do you know what I'm saying? Although we had dance hits, ballads were the thing, And so it's an interesting story. I think that deserves to be told, obviously on a stage, hopefully in a biopic. I want to be a part of it all. And the main thing is to open that conversation about mental illness and mental wellness, and how as Black people, we are constantly sweeping things like this under the rug because of the negative connotation. And when you do that, you don't get people to open up, or don't get to look at it as the illness that it is, then you don't get the help. And then you slip through the crack and you have a deep depression that leads to a death or a suicide, or in some way, or the demise, or the loss of someone's life. Even if they continue to live, if they're living with that kind of depression, then they're not really thriving. They're not really living the best life that they can live. So that's what my deal with Phyllis Hyman is. I got a lot of stories. We can talk about a lot of stuff, but this is what I'm doing with it. So I appeal to your audience as well, Bill, because I've been having a little difficulty reaching these people. That's what I'm looking for.
So let me ask you a question before I read some of the comments, and unless Amir has a question. She lost her life, but how talented, where do you think she could have eclipsed Allie off her talent? Because the bottom line is, a lot of times people get the accolades and become martyrs after they transition, untimely passing. But the bottom line is, due to the audience. Also, Leslie Jackson said, yes, Phyllis Hyman was an amazing person, very down to earth. She used to purchase her makeup for me while working in Midtown Manhattan. She was so cool. I mean, how crazy, the beautiful, Phyllis has an air about her that people understand. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know her, once you Google her, you'll be like, oh my God. Once you listen to her music, her voice resonates. I mean, people like Collins. It's so funny. Like I said, Stefania hit me up today. She was like, yo, Bill, have you heard of Phyllis Hyman? And I said, it's so funny that you asked me about Phyllis Hyman on the night that Alyson has her show, because I said Alyson was the second coming of Phyllis Hyman.
And the beauty of it is, too, and I don't mean to cut you off, Bill, is that even if Stefania is just finding Phyllis for the first time, she's going to be so happy. Because it's just she's going to start finding this music and discovering this music, and she's just going to get so happy. I don't think there's any end to what Phyllis could have done had she still been here. She had done film, she had done Broadway, she had been nominated for a Tony, she had done commercials that some people don't even know she was the voice of certain commercials and what have you. So what she could have done, we are at a loss because she didn't get a chance to do more. And new music was coming. I'll tell you that there's a 9 CD set that has been released. I am remiss because I don't have it in front of me because I didn't expect to go into this, but there's a 9 CD set that is being released as we speak. Has been released, and I implore you to go out and get it. I wish I could know the name of it off the top of my head, but yeah, it's out there with never before heard music and so on and so forth. And they had asked me to write a little blurb for it. And unfortunately, in COVID, conversations and communications got a lot. A lot of things got lost, and I lost my opportunity to get my work in on time. I did send it, but by the time I sent it, they had already gone to press. But I was honored just to be asked to be able to say a few words on her behalf and what she meant to me. So the music, the melody still lingers on, is all I can tell you. And like I said, I'm just looking for the opportunity to show this deck, this business plan for this particular piece. And I know that it's going to benefit people. Not only is it going to fill their souls musically and fill their souls with that on that end, but it's going to give a lot of information. It's going to allow people to say, wow, if this is what Phyllis Hyman went through, or this is what the people who were impacted, there's somebody out there who understands what I'm going through, and there's someplace I can go. That's what we're trying to get to. I don't have to be that. I don't have to be that. I might be able to escape that particular snare.
And what's so funny? I appreciate you and showing a real talk transparency moment. Ali, let me ask you a question, and then I'll defer to Amir, and then I'll let you close us out. Shout out to everybody that's watching Real Talk Chronicles. Appreciate you all. Lewis said, I miss her so much. Have never heard the pleasure of meeting her. Had music is featured on my daily playlist. That's what's up. Stefania says she's the original diva, just absolutely gorgeous. Elizabeth said it needs to be out in the open all too often. It's swept under the rug. I totally agree with. Thank you, Alyson. Alyson, I want to ask you a question, and then I'll defer to Amir. Why do you think she is held in such lore? The diva that she was, that she is, and like the shortcomings of her career. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Because the bottom line is, she's like that Tupac Biggie kind of the R&B kind of effervescent. You know what I'm saying? Like like the Minnie Riperton, the women.
Because she was a full package. She was a full package, and it was undeniable. It didn't matter whether you were young, old, black, white, gay, straight, fat, skinny, tall, short, wherever you fell. If you could listen to Phyllis Hyman, you understood what it was. Even if, say you were maybe a youngster and listening to her music, which was mature grown folks music, you still were taken in. Maybe you were an older person who had come up with a Rosemary Clooney and a Shirley Bassey and back in that era. But when you heard Phyllis, you didn't get mad. You were glad to hear someone that was singing and had those tones and had class and style and gave you some fashion on top of it. You were glad. You were glad to see a black woman doing all of these things and presenting herself in that way. So the reason she's held in such high esteem is because she was all of that. And even though she did a lot, she could have gone so much further. Now we don't have her, and so now we miss it. We don't know what we could have had, what we had in our midst all along. And that is why her mystique and the tragedy of it being a suicide. I want to say this, I went and looked it up. It is called Phyllis Hyman, Old Friend, the Deluxe Collection, 1976 to 1998. It includes a compilation, a 9 CD compilation of 113 tracks. Hello. Along with previously unreleased tracks, courtesy of soulmusic.com is the photo. And so please go and find this. It's called Old Friend. 1976 to 1998. It's got a wonderful booklet in it, and it's just got everything that you would want if you're a friend, a fan, or whether you're just discovering her for the first time. It's got a 37-page booklet, production details, history about her, and it's just got it's got a lot of stuff. So
Ali, I appreciate you talking about her, because I know how you feel about her personally. So I know that's a real talk moment, that the fact that you're talking about Phyllis and divulging certain, and I know it can touch a certain emotional trigger for you, because who she was to you and how you were with her. So I appreciate that. Amir, if you have any questions or comments about directed towards Alyson in regards to Phyllis, cool. If not, I have one more question before we get out of here. Go ahead, my brother.
I don't have any question. I just wanted to add to the conversation on a broader and a more general scale. As we come up on the holiday season, because November kind of brings us into the holiday season, we got Thanksgiving, we have Christmas coming, and to the point that she made about what Miss Phyllis Hyman was going through on a personal level, and what you brought to the table about your friend on a personal level. I just encourage everybody who's watching this particular thing and who's listening in and who'll see this down the line. This is the time of year to please check in on friends and family, send those text messages, make those phone calls, check in on your people. I don't care if you think that they're super strong, you think they're Superman and Superwoman and all these other things in between. Yes, there are a number of us who seem to, take the whole world on our shoulders, and we seem like, we're as strong as ever. But the reality of it all is they need to be their cup filled again as well, which means when you call and you make that effort, you have no idea who you may be walking off the ledge and/or who you may be helping to save and, further their life, their life here on this planet. So I just encourage everybody to, kind of take that into consideration.
And I appreciate that. And before we close out, I just want to read some comments. My man Norm, he said, Bill, don't forget how Donny Hathaway had a mental illness. Think the industry is ashamed about those with mental illness. Everybody, let me just introduce hold on, Allie. Let me introduce my man Norman Davis, that I played college ball with, that is in law enforcement, that is the amputated. He got amputated one of his legs due to diabetes, and he was the individual that I was talking about that tried to commit suicide. He's chiming in. He will join one of our shows. I love you. Norm, I love you to death, brother. I die 1,000 deaths for you. You know what I'm saying? I ride with you. We talked last night extensively. He will be joining some of the shows to tell us about what it's like to want to commit suicide. And he's going to come on from he has different perspectives from a law enforcement standpoint, from an African American standpoint, from a point of thinking about committing suicide. I mean, when we all were younger, sometimes at different points in our life, we were like, I want to kill myself, or we might have thought about it. But damn, if we ever thought about doing it. This man right here thought about doing it and tried it. Listen, that is the biggest shit that we could ever think about. Trying to kill ourselves, trying to do it, and then it didn't happen. God watched over you, bro. And let me tell you something. I'm so glad he did. And I told you yesterday, I'll tell you today, and I'll tell you on Real Talk right now, you will never, ever have to walk down that road without me again. You would never, ever have to think about doing something like that if you can't pick up that phone and call me, because that is not going to happen again. And I mean that from the sincere bottom of my heart. With that being said, my man Lewis said, Phyllis was a bag of chips with a dip. TMI, I have a pillow named after her. That's what's up. Norman said, Miss Alyson, what you know about the 45 insert earrings? You listen.
Don't try it, Norman. Don't try it, Norman.
Yo, Norman.
Norman.
Listen. We listen. They was in my house cleaning up, and Holly picked that shit up. Allison and them picked that shit up. They all made their own little business about it because we were cleaning up, and it was a beautiful thing. Shout out to the 45 family.
That's right.
When we go back when we were kids and young.
This was a hug, man. This is a hug. This is a whole experience right here. And when I tell you, I'm going to have them for earrings, for bracelets, for pendants, the belt buckle, the guys, y'all going to have cufflinks, even a watch with a pop top. I just want to say this. I said I wasn't going to tell anymore, but I'm going to tell a real quick story about a girl who had gone to New York, from New York, visiting New York, came to see a bunch of friends and left New York, left to go somewhere else, just running, just jet setting. On the night of Phyllis's demise, there was a concert at the Apollo, and they knew what had happened, apparently, and they were trying to find a replacement. I was traveling to the first ever Essence Festival in New Orleans. I left LaGuardia Airport, and I don't know where I was, Ohio, or wherever the layover was, and I got a call. I'm the girl who left New York. And the call was, Alyson, what you doing? What you doing? We got a concert here tonight with the Whispers, but we don't think Phyllis is going to make it, and we need to know if you can come and stand in for her. And all I can hear in the background, and this is afterwards, I remember, just hang up, don't say nothing, don't, just hang up. If she don't, just hang up. And I'm on the phone going, yo, guys, I just left. I know. They were like, yeah, but we saw you here on Wednesday. Because when I would come into town, when I didn't live in New York, I lived out of state, I would go to the Apollo and hang out with Ray and the crew, because that's how I would get all my information. That's how I knew what was doing who, you know, that's, you go where everybody's at. So they rehearsing for Showtime at the Apollo. I go backstage, I hang out with the crew. I hung out with the crew and I left. And that Saturday, it was Saturday night, I went and got on a plane headed to New Orleans. They called me to replace Phyllis on that night, but I never knew it until I got to New Orleans and somebody called me and said, Alyson, she's gone. I said, what are you talking about? They said, Phyllis is gone. And I knew what they meant because the week before that, I had been in DC with her. We were all performing. I had a showroom. Phyllis had a showroom, and Nancy Wilson had Blues Alley. The story is the most incredible thing you've ever want to hear. But just to think that that's who they called me to come and replace her. A year later, the play was written. I don't want to get into anything else, but I do want to do something special. I hope it turns out special for Norman and for anyone else who doesn't know or didn't know or wants to know. I don't want to lose you. I love you as you are. I don't want to lose you. I couldn't ask for more. Tell me love will remain, though you may change. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
I don't know how that sounded, but I was trying to give you something special.
Listen, that was a Real Talk Chronicles moment.
That was a perfect closer.
Never heard, never done. You've seen it firsthand. Ali, Amir, hopefully we will see you guys before Thanksgiving. But in lieu, if we don't, and not able to have you guys on the show for some reason, to your schedule, not because I don't want you here. Amir, give people something to say, something they're thankful for. Ali, give them something they're thankful for. But I mean, I want you guys to come back before Thanksgiving. But if you're not able to, just give somebody something thankful, because otherwise than that, we won't see you guys until December. So give people something to be thankful for. Amir, close out on some positivity. Ali, do that, and then we'll close out. Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to say to everybody, we have the opportunity to fellowship this year. Thankfully, with the vaccination and everything. Like I said, please, first and foremost, go see your friends and family. If you haven't seen your mom, your aunt, whomever in your family in some time, go sit with them, smile with them, laugh, joke. Listen to stories about your family. Understand the dynamics of your family, where you come from, who's done what. Take those stories with you. Record them. You hear Alyson giving us a very, very beautiful, detailed situation of what her journey was like to some degree with somebody who we lost, like she said, 25 years ago. We're going to lose members of our families. We're going to lose some of the elders. We're going to lose some of the youth. But if you don't take this time to enjoy each other, hug one another, and just, like I said, take this moment to really check in on the people who you love and care about, then we're going to miss out on a golden opportunity. So please take that with you.
Allie?
I would just say, and reiterate on that, I would say just be thankful for life. Be thankful for every day that you're able to get up, open your eyes, and go like this. And it's good. And you can get up and walk across the room. You see, the taste buds are in your mouth. They're working. All the little things that we take for granted. Be thankful. Be thankful. Be thankful. Be thankful. Be thankful. And then be a little more thankful.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Alyson Williams, and our special co-host. He is always welcome, and he knows that.
My heart.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Alyson with the 45 smoke. Listen, everybody, Norm said, man, y'all got me over here crying. Thank you so much. Norman, you know I love you. I told you last night. I tell you again. I thank you, Norman, for letting me speak on what you're going through. Norman started a group on Facebook about certain situations like that. Shout out to Hunter College people. Elizabeth, Liz is in the building. Everybody, if you don't know, Alyson was part of a group 8, a special 8. When my mother passed away, I needed therapy. I didn't know where I was going, how I was going to get there. Alyson, along with 7 others, we got together and we conversed about how this happened. We talked about relationships that manifested from our upbringing. And then it became into relationships and who you're dating. You know, that was a commercial part of it. But the authenticity of Real Talk Chronicles is always about where we are and how we are and who we are as people. The origin. And I thank her immensely for always, when I told her I was doing this podcast, and I said, Allie, I want you to be a part of this. I'm reaching back for you. You know, who knows? I might get a radio spot. I can't divulge a lot of stuff, but you know, I reached back and I told my sister, I said, yo, will you be a part of this? She was like, absolutely. Like, dog, real talk. This is what we do, right? And she sees the transformation from the original crew to the secondary crew to the third crew to the tier 4 people. Like, she was like, yo, I never forget one time she came by the house. It was like 50, 60 people. She was like, I don't know any of these people. You know what I'm saying? But I say all that. I say that with so much humility. Amir, I appreciate you. I love you. That's the Thanksgiving that I'm going to give back. I thank all of you that are chiming in. You know, we are positive, and the numbers are great. Alyson, thank you for still rocking with me. It means the world to me. Norm, I don't know what to say. That the fact that you divulged that and you told me I could mention that, and then you know you asked about Phyllis, Stefania, you asked about Phyllis today. Can y'all exactly? Please, y'all send up some hearts. You know, everybody, there's something to be thankful for, and Thanksgiving is right here. I can't believe that Thanksgiving is right here, but I love you all. I appreciate you. I don't know what to say, yo. You know what I'm saying? I'm just real talk. I appreciate you all. Thank you. This is the hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my life. I throw a party, everybody comes. I do anything, everybody, it happens for me. But positivity is the hardest thing that people want to hear. And I thank Alyson, I thank Amir for being a part of it. Listen, I hug you. I love you all. Appreciate you. Listen, this Wednesday, they know they're always welcome to come back. We're going to chop it up on some police stuff, some violence and stuff like that. We're going to talk about this trial. We're going to talk about this little punk-ass Kyle Rittenhouse.
Here we go.
You know, listen, I got to say what I got to say because it's real talk. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Amir Aubrey, rest in peace, soldier, King. you know, we're not going to forget you. You know what I'm saying? I hope these people get life in prison for what the shit that they did to you. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. That's Amir Audrey. That's Amir Sealy. That's Alyson Williams, and I am Bill Forster. Thank you so much.
Peace,
Good night,
baby.
everybody. You
Good
guys
night,
hold on for a
and
second.
happy holidays.
Okay.
Happy holidays.
Okay.
Happy Thanksgiving. Hold on before we get out of here. Hold on, y'all.
You got it.
Yeah.